What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now Plus. I'm Alex, and in this video, I want to give my quick review of The Falcon and the Winter Soldier Episode 3. So, last week, I said that I'm not impressed. I said that so far, not so good. And a lot of people didn't agree with me, and that's completely okay. And what I'm glad about is that I made it very clear, and I try to make it clear in these episodic things, that I'm only talking about where we are so far. So yes, you could go back and look at that video of last week and say this is aged poorly, which I wonder if people are going to do. But again, that's without looking at the date. I was specifically talking about the first two episodes. In my opinion, this episode was super, super good. And who knew? All they needed to do was bring in Sharon Carter and bring in Zemo, basically, and they would have a fantastic show. This episode had kind of all the things I was hoping for. And you could say, obviously, it relied quite a bit on action. I wouldn't even say that the action was definitely a shining star of this episode, and it did, I guess, drive it, but it wasn't the only thing to like. One of the things that I've said about so far, the first two episodes, or even the first episode, let's say, I didn't really like the Falcon, the very first, like the chase when he's flying and he's going through the helicopters and all that stuff. Way too many cuts, just looked pretty darn messy. Did not like it. This fighting was overall better. I mean, there were still some scenes, I think specifically maybe with Bucky, where it felt a little like, okay, is that really him doing it because of all the different cuts that are going on? But especially with Sharon, I mean, my dear Jesus, to me, and I don't know about behind the scenes stuff, but it definitely looked like it was her doing all of the stunts, all of the, basically the fighting, the choreography. She did a phenomenal job. And I don't think this episode made me like super like her, like massively more than like wherever you stood on her before the entire show. But I think it's building. I think it's building her character. I think she is pretty likable already. Obviously, it helps to bring back characters that we've already seen before, right? Because you don't have to worry about explaining them as much. And then her action scenes were just super amazing. And then we get to Zemo, who I think actually made the episode. I mean, look, these kind of or I guess like the Marvel Cinematic Universe has obviously done this before with Loki and a few others, but Loki's the best example of taking a villain and making them good, making them actually be pretty darn lovable, right? And I don't think we're there yet, especially when you think about what he's done. But I mean, he's funny. He's got like the right kind of personality for the two of them. My wife and I were saying like he's a better therapist for them than the actual therapist was. He's kind of like glue that brings everything together. I mean, I liked the mysteriousness. I liked where it was going, that it was kind of it had a sort of undercover feel that, okay, we need to go here and do this, and okay, it's going to be dangerous, and you're going to have to follow me along. We're going to bring back, like, yeah, you're going to have to kind of pretend like you're under my control. There was some tension mixed in through the episode. It was really, in my opinion, really good. A lot of the stuff that I said that I didn't like in episodes 1 and 2, those kind of just throw-in things, they weren't really present here. Again, I think it was a faster tempo, but they also did still have time to kind of go over the two characters. There's obviously the emotion of what it felt like for Sharon to basically be like exiled, like nobody stood up for her back in the day of like the Civil War times, right? Like Avengers Civil War, right? Or I guess Captain America Civil War. There was none of that. So you had that kind of with Falcon a little bit, or with Sam, and then Bucky. He was kind of going through, like, basically he's going back to being, the kind of the Winter Soldier, something that he really doesn't want to do, or maybe he does, right? So it did have depth. The two characters again. I mean, when Sam and Bucky are together, they are super good. There's some jokes I don't think always land, but I think that their chemistry together and their kind of like off again, on again relationship thing, it is really solid. And so that was there. But then you had Zemo in to kind of be that third really like dynamic, and dynamic is in like he's kind of all over the place wheel. So I was really impressed. Like when it started, there was the commercial, right, of like the blip and stuff like that, and basically kind of like a New World Order sort of thing that I would not trust that in real life, even if I'm sure there kind of is things like that anyway. Kind of scary, but it's like, okay, that's not probably how you start an episode. And then it just kicked off, and it really got going. Oh, the prison escape scene was actually really clever. I liked the kind of idea of, hypothetically, remember, so Bucky said, hypothetically, like, what if all this stuff happened? And then Zemo walks through the door. It's like, that's pretty clever. That's pretty cool. And again, so I think they matched the comedy, the action, some tension, but not just action to have it. I really don't think it was that case. It also did build some stuff, and I think that's really important because I think some of the action of the past 2 episodes was kind of just there, especially that very first, Falcon part was kind of just like, okay, it's basically a movie on Disney Plus, and this is why it is like this. Like, we're gonna prove it to you, and it's like, okay, cool, but it really, to me, it didn't do anything. I was almost actually bored, even though it was an action scene. I know not everybody agrees with that, and that's okay. This is kind of the action, I guess, that I would more prefer, if that makes sense to people. So this is how you do it. Kind of sucks that they waited till episode 3 to get here. This should have probably been episode 1. I get it. That's kind of a joke. You couldn't actually, there was a lot of setup to get, in the first 2 hours, basically, to get to this point. Hopefully, 4, 5, 6 really just continue to up it from here, because if this is the starting point and the next 3 episodes kind of one-up this one, like every episode after this one-ups it, I think it's going to be actually a really... If all the episodes are this good, I would say it's probably better than WandaVision, even with the first 2, in my opinion, being pretty weak. So we'll have to see, obviously, how it goes, but I was definitely impressed and very happy with this episode. So let me know, guys, in the comments below, what'd you think? Is there, I'm sure there's parts of it that I, completely forgot about or missed, but let me know positives, negatives, anything you guys want to talk about on episode 3, or, the entire series, the first 3 episodes in general. Let me know. As always, make sure you guys are subscribed. Make sure you guys have the bell icon turned on so all these videos go up, and I do a brand new video on this channel every single day, and so I hope to see you guys for tomorrow's video.